Firsters?
Okay.
Rabid
Starting
firsters.
over. All right. Hello, First Pancakes. We are here today to play How I Heard It. This is a tabletop role-playing game. You play around a campfire, and so we are all gathered here around the campfire to play it with you. My name is George. I am the designer of How I Heard It, and also part of First Pancake Studios, and I have some wonderful friends here with you, or with me today, to play this game. Nick, you want to start introductions?
I'm Nick Murphy. That's it.
I'm Oliver. I'm also part of the studio, and I'm excited to play.
And I'm CJ, also ready to play.
Cool. So this game is a storytelling RPG where each of us are going to be playing Chroniclers in a world, telling a story to each other. We are telling the story of a hero, but we ourselves are not heroes. We are people that exist in this world and have our own ideals and faction and beliefs, and we want those beliefs to get across in the story. So we're going to start by learning a little bit about the world we're going to play in from something called a world sheet. So I'm going to read aloud to the group. And then after that, we're going to design the hero that we're making the story around, and then design our chroniclers. So we are going to be playing in a world sheet called Bilge Root. The blurb for this goes like this. Shards of land scattered around the swamp by an ancient incorporeal hand, floating barges of the poor and diseased, archipelagos inhabited by undead kings, gilded buildings bulge at their seams, pouring over the edges of rocks too small to bear their opulence. Privateers, freelancers, and thieves prowl the festering bog like vultures in need of carrion. The rot emboldens the wealthy and bleeds the poor, but sometimes ancient treasures can be found wrapped in its layers of peat and putrescence. So, sounds like we're in a archipelago pirate world with liches in the
Heavy undead
middle.
and swamp vibe.
Yeah, undead swamp vibe, yeah. So the factions that we could each be a part of, the first is the Rotting Royalty. They are the blessed tyrants of the land, moldering cloaks and bejeweled knuckle bones, festering on rotting islands. They have ideals of immortality and power. There are the Privateers. These are raiders of royalty with writs of permission from other royals. They have damp hammocks and meager meals. Their ideals are legend and reputation. Next we have the Mudlarks. These are folks who are digging in the peat for ancient treasures, muddy waders, stinking fingernails, and subsistence on bog tubers. And their ideals are the ancients and luck. And finally, we have the Forgotten, the last embers of a dying faith, king killers who are now king plagued, hushed prayers and warm incense, and their ideals are mortality and equality. So that's kind of the world we're working in here. The first thing we're going to do in this world is come up with our hero. Our hero is composed of 5 titles. They are a name, of humble origin, 3 great achievements, and a somber end. So we need to start by coming up with what their humble origin was, maybe something like, grew up in the bilge of a boat or something. Maybe not that nasty. but and then 3 great things they did in their lives, like slaying a Lich King, captaining a ship, something like that, and then a somber end that is kind of leaving things off on a soft note for what happens at the end of the story. So, why don't we start pitching ideas for humble origin?
What's their name?
Or we can start with name too. I like to do name last just because I'm bad at coming up with names.
No, I like that. Let's do it last.
Humble origin. I mean,
Seashell seller.
Be a barnacle scraper.
ooh, I kind of like that one.
Barnacle scraper, like a hull scraper.
A mud
Yeah.
filterer.
Filter. like they just are a
Filters
barnacle.
the bog for drinkable water. I like the barnacle scraper.
I like barnacle scraper. Let's go with that one. Probably, yeah. We'll say they were cleaning some hulls. And then any achievements we think they could have done in this world.
What if they slayed like a enormous barnacle, like like a devious, like I'm almost imagining
Like it's a
barnacle.
kraken, but it's a barnacle.
right, like a
Oh, okay.
Sarlacc pit kind of barnacle. Like,
A man-eater type of barnacle.
yeah.
What the man-eater
what's it-
barnacle?
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Slayed the man-eater. Parentheses barnacle.
Does that sound?
How about like Admiral of the Ghost Fleet?
Ooh.
Okay, that's evocative. I don't know what it means yet, but that's okay.
Hey, I heard undead in boats.
Yeah.
We gotta have a ghost fleet.
There has to be a ghost fleet. I agree.
Like, you want to put another log on?
Yeah, I can do that.
It's singing to us.
It is.
Yeah, it's saying.
Feed me.
We could do something fire related.
We could. What makes you think of that?
I have no clue.
Burner of kingdoms. Or worshipper of the flame.
Oh, we could make him related to the Forgotten. They're kind of like a fire-themed faith, it seems. We could say worshipper of the flame and figure out what that means later.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel like worshipper isn't an achievement on its own. Like,
King of the flame.
Prophet of Flame.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Good ideas all. Okay. Prophet of flame. And then we need a somber end. Where
burnout.
Peat swallowed.
Peat swallowed.
Peat swallow.
Like the bog peat.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
bog.
yeah,
Well, I mean, we can leave it open to.
Peat
Just
trapped, perhaps. Peat trapped.
Peat, the child of the man-eater barnacle.
All right, we'll say Peat swallowed. I like that.
And we'll figure out what that means.
We don't know what that
Yeah.
means yet, and that's okay. Excellent. Okay, so we have our hero. Oh, we need a name.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest part of role playing. Come up with a single name challenge.
Swampette.
Swampette. Guys, nothing better.
Bogalina.
Crabla.
George, we're giving you a lot of good choices.
These are all fantastic.
Ishi.
Sushi. Let's go.
Marshie.
I like
Marshie.
Marshie. Okay, we'll go with Marshie. I spelled it. It don't matter how I spelled it. All right, excellent. So our hero is Marshie, who was a barnacle scraper, who slayed the man-eater, Admiral of the Ghost Fleet, Prophet of Flame, who is now Peat swallowed. Excellent. Sounds like a
Woof.
legend.
Yeah, this sounds like a legend already.
Ups and downs.
So.
All in 1 week.
Oh yeah, and then what were we thinking for pronouns? Is this she, her?
I think it's
Sure.
whatever they need to be.
Okay.
I think she.
All right, so we have our hero now. Next we're gonna make our chroniclers. I guess something I didn't mention before is this is a GM-less game, so I'm just facilitating here and getting people set up. But we're all going to be a chronicler and storyteller with equal rights over the story here. So let's start with CJ. Why don't you make the first choice of faction you want to be? You don't have to write this yet, but the factions are right here.
See, I think I'll be a mudlark, digging in the peat for ancient treasures.
Nice.
Perhaps still looking for our lost hero.
Oh, true. Looking for the bones, the bog body.
I think I want to be the forgotten. Last embers of a dying faith, king killers, and now king plagued. Hush prayers and warm incense. Mortality and equality.
I think I'll take the rotting royalty.
Okay. Nick's gonna be the evil.
Hold on. Just because our gracious monarchs are eternal, and just because they are blessed by the rot, does not mean that.
Well, they're ancient.
I mean, you
They've
can't
been
be mean to
around
poor
for so
people. They're not
long.
people. So
Oh my god, the royalty kind of suck. All right. I guess that leaves privateers for me, which is good because that was the one I was going to choose anyways.
It all works out.
Yeah, we're each going to we each have our faction selected now. So next we're going to each choose a personal ideal from the list on the bottom. Again, these should be distinct, and I want you, after you think of it, to stare into the fire for a sec and come up with at least a one-sentence reason why your character believes that. Like, what has caused them to take this personal ideal over something else.
Interesting. I will take wisdom.
Okay. I'm gonna take down with the royals.
Get up, come on, get down with the royals.
Get down with the royals. My man.
I'll take filth.
I like this mudlark.
I think harmony feels right. I think more interestingly, I'm gonna pick fear. Because I think it's kind of like interestingly conflicting with some of my my faction ideals.
Excellent. Cool. So I'm gonna ask. We're gonna go around now and introduce our chroniclers. I'm just gonna ask you to have a name for your chronicler, and then say your 3 ideals out loud, and then record them in the world chronicle here. Does that sound good?
Okay.
I guess I'll start. I am Captain Fairtooth. And I believe, above all else, in legend, reputation, and down with the royals.
Even though we pay you.
Not enough.
A little trickle down, you understand.
Would you mind writing mine for me?
Yes, I can write yours for you.
Well, I'm Festa.
Lester Fester.
And like many Peat purveyors, I believe in luck, the ancient, and filth.
I will be Boggart.
He's getting smoked.
I
right
am.
now.
I'm getting smoked out. Nick, do you wanna?
I will be
pass for now. Let me think. I need a second to think.
the Baron Cranium. My ideals are, of course, wisdom and the other 2 listed under rotting royalty on the other page.
Of course. Those were
Immortality and power.
Of course.
But with wisdom.
a wise immortal ruler.
Oh, that's what he likes to think.
My people have ruled with grace and wisdom for many an age.
The bog says
All right.
otherwise. The
I'm gonna
bog
be
knows all.
Boggart Faithful.
Your name says it all.
It does. And I believe in mortality, quality, and fear.
What an odd group.
I'm wondering which of us is the tyrants.
If you understand, you understand. If you know, then you know.
Quite.
Well, the Peat knows all.
You haven't been to any of our teachings, you know. Maybe then you would understand that fear and mortality are one and the same.
I'm not sure the Peat would say that, but okay.
All the same, we are gathered here to tell the story of this hero to the people.
Yes, to tell the story of Marshie. So, to begin, we're going to tell storytelling rounds. Each of these is going to cover one of the hero's titles that we came up with in the beginning. And we're each going to have some amount of folk power or influence, which are going to be represented by sticks and pine cones. So those are our those are our power tokens. So again, sticks are folk power, pine cones are influence. During someone else's turn storytelling, someone can interrupt and spend one of these to alter the story, and you'll see how that happens when we get into it. But in short, folk tokens can be spent to say you're forgetting and introduce something new to the story, and influence tokens can be spent to say that's not quite right and introduce a new rule to the storytelling. Does that make sense to everyone? Excellent. And then you can also exchange them at any other time when things are being exchanged. So I am going to start off the story as my character, Captain Fairtooth. So we're gathered here today to tell the story of Marshie. Now, Marshie was known as a barnacle scraper. How I heard it, Marshie was a seeker of treasure, much like myself. Marshie was a very fond of gold and other things like that. And, well, the reason she became so enamored with gold is her work in Storoport. In Storoport, she was among the pirate ships, the vessels, all these illegal traders that would come in out of the eye of the watchful Lich Kings, and she would work on their ships there, scraping and removing the great barnacles that encrusted their hulls. It was not good paying work, it was not healthful work, but it paid the bills. It kept her alive, and all the while she stared at these pirates hauling back treasures of the bog, of the liches, and she saw these and coveted them herself. She said, one day I am going to be a legend like these pirates. I am going to take treasures from the world and bring them back home to Storoport. Well, I guess I'll go this way.
Yes, Marshie had developed a great interest in treasure and the wealth it could bring her. But most importantly, she needed the wealth in order to cure her ailing father, who was afflicted by the tongue rot. A truly terrible disease, one which rots the tongue. This
Despicable.
This is what happens when you let the poor people name things.
You're
Alas,
forgetting that her father was a pirate.
Of course, I thought it hardly relevant since his pirating days were long behind him. But yes, indeed, the old Captain Bog Swallow was of some nominal repute. And it was why Marshie was able to indulge in her hobbies of scraping the barnacles off of very great and fine ships, ones which could afford to pay for her rather diligent service.
You're forgetting. That's not just how she made her funds.
Indeed. For she also was a fine storyteller and enthralled the sailors in the taverns across the docks in late evenings with song and with tale.
You can pass on it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
A very fine lady, that Marshie, at that point, no?
Well,
Now this was before Marshie had acquired a taste for blood.
Excuse me.
Marshie, at this time, she was a kind soul. She was willing to share.
I believe you will remember that she was a cruel sort as a child.
And her father raised her to be cruel. Her father, of course, the pirate captain Bogswallow. Boggart. That's my name, actually. But I think it's more of a testament to her kindness that she grew away from her father's cruel teachings in her childhood. And she...
Yes, to find her own crueler teachings.
Yes, well, she...
Yes, go on, Boggart.
I'm sorry.
Boggart.
It just gets me emotional. To think that one who would eventually become the Prophet of Flame was once such a cruel, and then even more cruel.
I believe you'll remember this was not a one-time affair.
I'm just... Yes, I think... Maybe I was misremembering. Her cruelty knew no bounds. And when she would eventually go on to slay the man-eater, many would have claimed that it was to free the people around her, but really it was just that she was looking for a bigger, meaner thing to be crueler to. She was cruel. She scraped the barnacles with malice, with hate in her heart. She scraped the barnacles. She enjoyed scraping the barnacles because she could take as many lives as possible in as little time as possible. Marshie was a deeply disturbed person due to her being raised by the pirate captain. But again, let us not let the cruelty begin there or end there, because as we've established, her cruelty developed beyond simply what her father could teach her. She was inventing new ways to be cruel and finding new cruelty in her heart every day.
That's beautiful.
And our sweet Marshie. She just loved to be cruel so much that she never wanted to stop. With all that power, she also sought immortality, so that she could continue on scraping barnacles, telling her lovely tales, and finding new and disturbed ways to just mess up people's days. I remember she would take the sailors' boots and tie all their laces together, and then she'd dunk them in the water, take them out, and let them freeze, even.
You're forgetting her band of
Children.
cruel friends.
Oh, yes.
Her accompaniment that eventually joined her.
Oh, yes, she ran a gang of youth as well. They were not all too cruel, more just playing terrible tricks. I mean, they would sling mud, precious, valuable mud and peat. They would take it from the lovely earth and just, well, muck it about. And we all know you are meant to muck within the mud, not for the mud to come up and muck you. But yes, no, these terrible children always tagged along. They were the ones who would surround the boats as soon as they came into the bay, saying, "We will take your barnacles, we will take them all." And the crews had no choice but to pay them for their services. It was quite upsetting to most sailors. They were all afraid of our wonderful Marshie.
Quite terrifying. All right, so now it is back to me. So I'm going to narrate a brief interlude in the outside world and identify a theme that came up last round.
I have an idea.
So I do think the theme of last round was definitely cruelty.
Can't imagine where that came from.
So I'm going to add that to one of the tabs, and now you can choose that instead of whatever was on that tab.
Ooh, tab modification.
I pulled innocence, and you all made it really mean.
Funny, because that's the one I just wrote cruelty on.
Now we have options.
Now you have options. Again, the game is called How I Heard It. If you want to play it yourself, there's a free ash can available right now online. And if you want a physical edition, that's going to have a lot more world sheets and settings to play in. I think we're somewhere in the range of like 12 to 20. Those are going to be on Backerkit. The link is going to be in the bio. And you're going to get some really cool lino cut art to go with all the cool writing and stuff in this book. So definitely go check it out. We're only backing during the month of February, so limited time to help us out. Thank you.
Do we also refresh the tokens now?
Yes, so now we refresh the tokens, and while you're doing that, I will narrate a brief interlude. Captain Fairtooth is going to stand up and walk away from the fire in the pub for a little bit. He's going to walk out onto the peat bog and look over the waters here and see his boat listing in the distance, bobbing on the waves. And on the boat we see it says Marshie's cruelty. as the name of the boat there.
A potent name.
Yeah, and he stares at it like thinking and longing of the legend of Marshie and hoping that one day he'll be as famous as Marshie is. And then he returns back to the pub into the warm around the fire and rejoins you. So now we pass the framing narrator, so we'll pass it to Lord Byron. Baron.
Baron Cranium. So, I had my skull freshly polished. Yes, the tale of the slaying of the man-eater Barnacle. Yes, this is one of my favorite tales of her many escapades.
Mine too.
Nice 3.
Yes.
Now, Marshie, for all the fact that she hated her father, she still felt some amount of obligation to his early teachings of her grand and illustrious cruelty. The tongue rot was, of course, a horrendous disease and would leave him dead within but a few weeks. But there was legend of tale of a great monstrous barnacle in the southern sea, one which could perhaps contain the antidote for such a deadly disease. And so she gathered her crew of horrifically cruel children.
Well, you go.
You're forgetting that the wealthy of the town had several vials of this antidote they were unwilling to sell.
Well, obviously the wealthy had... We were untouchable by such small things as tongue rot. But of course, we would not sell to such a cruel and poor privateer as Marshie.
Oh, no, hold on. That's not quite right. Marshie, she might not have had money at the time, but she knew how to wrangle. She could have gone and stolen anything. That was her whole... She wanted to be a pirate. We know she could have gone and stolen wealth. The royals wouldn't have sold to her anyways.
But you're also forgetting that you can make the antidote from just amassing large quantities of the smaller barnacles, for which she already had a business doing so.
You, of course, bring up excellent points. Firstly, yes, she was in fact already accruing a rather large sum of wealth. Indeed, she was accruing a great wealth creating the antidote to tongue rot with the many barnacles she was harvesting. However, she still embarked upon such a quest for 2 reasons. Firstly, because to some degree, she wanted a grand adventure, and there was just... Business was going so well, she really needed to come up with a kind of bullshit reason to get out there.
True.
But most importantly, her father's tongue rot was a particularly stubborn breed. She had applied the many ministrations of which she had already accrued great wealth in administering, and it was not taking. Indeed, the condition of her father was worsening, and so she realized she needed a special brand of this medication, one which perhaps could only be accrued by the father of all barnacles, one who was known to devour men whole, or at least like bit at a time after they had fallen to the bottom, because barnacles don't move. But there was one particular spot where it was noted that bodies disappeared very quickly.
Where was that?
As I said, in the southern sea.
So, Marshie set sail to the southern sea with her band of cruel misfits.
You're forgetting what they were called.
That's the... Are you in the wrong
The wrong one? Sorry. Thank you.
The Cruel Kids.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Little kids,
Yes, they went by the Cruel Kids.
yes.
And they...
That's kids with a C, by the way.
Yes, of course.
And cruel is also with a C.
Thank
Obviously.
Why
Well,
you guys need to spend your
everybody
tokens
is
for that?
so
sort of
literate.
The Cruel Kids set sail, and on the open sea, they found this was the longest journey Marshie had ever taken, right? To find this barnacle, of which there was only legend, right? She did not know that she would find what she was looking for. But she was eager. She was eager to feel something, right? The normal barnacles weren't challenging her. She was looking to face the threat of death, to be reminded of her mortality.
But you are also forgetting the challenge was mainly because she did not know how to sail.
But of course, while Marshie's father passed down a great deal of knowledge about cruelty, he left out many of the key lessons of rigging and setting headings and compass use and just general seaward navigation. And so it was a great challenge for Marshie, but she relished in the cruel journey that would impart upon her and the cruel kids with which she traveled. And on their way to the Barnacle, the man-eater Barnacle, they were diverted. They were caught in the great southern whirlpool.
Ooh. You gonna add that?
Oh, sure, yes.
Here, you can sketch that somewhere if you want.
Oh, yes. The great southern whirlpool. What a beast. We hear it all the time in many a tale, but that sort of thing did not interest Marshie when she was telling her own cruel, landlocked story.
I believe you will remember that she was obsessed with the southern whirlpool.
Oh, yes, actually you are quite right. While most of her cruel tales did take place on land, the whirlpool she was quite fascinated by. So she was actually thrilled to compete with the challenge when she found it. But of course, her not knowing how to sail had certain repercussions. Instead of trying to go around the edge, she could not quite steer that ship, and neither could the band of cruel kids. So they went right through the middle of it.
You're forgetting what was in the middle.
Right through the middle of it, which was actually just quite calm, frankly. It was actually surprising. You see, nobody else had been so precocious, so daring as to just go right through it. And, well, it's not actually that big of a deal, this great southern whirlpool, we found out.
That's not quite right. While it may be calm in the middle, it was inhabited by a certain specimen of a man-eating quality. That, see, at the dead center of the whirlpool was the Barnacle.
Oh, yes, I think the peat and bog fumes have gotten to my memory. Thank you, Captain. So while, yes, the center of it was quite calm for the waves, there was this giant beast there. And she was ecstatic to have met it. When she found it, she gathered the kids and said, "Okay, let's get to scraping."
Okay. And get to scraping they did. They all pulled out their metal scrapers, kind of like paint scrapers, I think.
That's not quite right. I believe they were armed only with wooden scrapers.
They pulled out their wooden scrapers.
Oh, that's actually not quite right either. I heard they had big steel boots. They simply kicked them off.
They had big steel boots and wooden scrapers, and they came running at the massive Barnacle. And this Barnacle, you see, the legends say it couldn't, like, it was like a normal Barnacle, but that's not quite right. It has a fearsome reputation among the pirate community. You see, though normal Barnacles cannot move, this thing had great legs of steel and trod upon the landscape.
That's not quite right. I believe it was on a massive floating barge of peat.
It stood upon the barge.
Or as in, it didn't have legs on the barge.
Right,
Am I
no.
remembering that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, like it technically couldn't move, but it was on something that could move, so it just sort of flailed about to get momentum.
So the barge, the barnacle flailed its mouth bits to
Yes.
move the barge around, slamming it amongst the ships. And Marshie led these screaming children bravely into this fight. And as they slammed into this beast, children flying left and right, they struck a beautiful killing blow right down the barnacle's gullet, and just as its guts spilled out, a second ship arrived on the horizon.
I believe you're forgetting. This was, Marshie said, the first time in her life that she had felt true fear. That she had felt death was around the corner.
Yes.
Or she lost something in that barnacle fight, did she not?
Yes, okay. I don't like to talk about it, but Marshie did lose something in that fight. You see, Marshie was a fearsome swordswoman before this battle. And legendary, still a fearsome swordswoman. But as she drove her sword down the gullet of this barnacle, its great chitinous mouthpieces snapped around her arm, cutting it off at the shoulder. Now, that doesn't lessen her power as a fighter. She was a great fighter and will be known as that forever. She was the most fearsome of pirates, a reputation stronger than anyone else. Let no one scold her. And so she slayed this this beast, yanking its innards out to prepare them for the vial that would cure her father. And as this happened, a fleet of ships appeared on the horizon. It turns out she was not the only one after the barnacle called the Man-Eater. And it is your turn for interlude.
These old bones, they do remember such days when they too rode the waves. For indeed, before I retired to my life of scrolling tales and telling of the illustrious power of the Rattlebone dynasty, I was once a sailor, and we did come into conflict with that oh-so-cruel mistress of the waves. Indeed, the story is still told around many a fire as this one, as I'm sure my companion Boggart can tell.
Oh yes, identify a theme as well.
Oh yes, and I believe that in that story we can definitely see a certain... a grand showing of panache.
Indeed.
Could you add panache to one of the themes?
Okay. I will lead us now into the chapter of Marshie's tale about her time as the Admiral of the Ghost Fleet.
Oh, yes.
Now, the keen-eared among you may have connected the approaching fleet and the title of this chapter. However, this is not as it may have seemed. It may at first seem. See, that fleet was led by the great non-ghost pirate, Gerald Evilsworth. Captain Gerald Evilsworth was leading his fleet down upon the cruel Marshie. Captain Gerald Evilsworth had heard of Marshie's cruelty and wanted to put an end to it, and thought this would be the perfect time to ambush her.
That's
and
not
her cruel
that's not
kids.
quite right. You see, Evilsworth was my father. And the way Evilsworth was, he wouldn't have done this for a sense of justice or beauty or getting rid of cruelty in the world. No. He was a man of firm reputation. He believed if he could take down the cruelest pirate to sail the ocean, he might bear that title for himself.
That's not quite right. You see, he had specifically been tracking Marshie and her cruel kids, specifically in order to ambush them and defeat them because of their horrible ways, as he was a true captain of justice.
But that's not quite right. I mean, yeah, sure, justice. But he primarily wanted to grow his own reputation to become the bestest, most shiniest, most bestest ever captain, purveyor of good. He wanted to take the children from Marshie to make a more therapized, better version of his own greater, kinder gang.
A kind child army.
Yes, instead of the cruel kids, he wanted to get
So
to
Gerald Evilsworth, the kind-hearted but reputation-hungry man, he charged into that whirlpool fearless. He did not fear death, and for that sin he was struck down. The gods of the ocean swept him underneath into the depths of the whirlpool, the calm whirlpool that had let Marshie pass just moments before. And the Admiral was swept beneath, and his entire brigade, his entire fleet was sucked beneath the ocean waves. But because he did not fear death, he was cursed. He was not allowed the gift of mortality. He was not allowed the gift of moving on to the other side. Instead, he was cursed to wander this earth with his fleet because he did not respect mortality. He did not respect death. He did not have fear. And because of that great act of hubris, he's cursed to wander these shores. And so while Marshie may have escaped that whirlpool, the ghost fleet followed her.
Indeed. I mean, as luck would have it, the great Captain Evil was revived into the Ghost Captain Evil.
Don't forget that it was the gods of the ocean that did this act of justice upon him.
It was true. The sea gods smiled or frowned, depending on your views of immortality, upon the great Captain whatever. The captain. And he was revived as a vengeful spirit, yes, who wanted to haunt Marcie no matter where she would go.
That's not quite right. You see, he was brought upon as a spirit of wisdom, one who had made mistakes, but whose purpose was to guide other souls to make better choices.
Oh, yes. Sorry. What I meant was redemption, yes. He wanted to spread the good word that even the cruelest soul could become loving. It's something he learned from many years of therapy. And so he followed Marcie and the gang of cruel children out of the whirlpool after she had slain the great man-eater Barnacle and lost her shoulder and arm attached, yelling just praises and affirmations towards them. It was actually quite odd. But anyways, Marcie, after having relished in such a defeat, wanted not to return home, no, but to go out, to find more adventures, bigger monsters, bigger man-eaters, and also, sure, to cure her father, but that was not of great concern to her. As we previously mentioned, he could likely find the cure at home if he just reached out to the right people. But no, the gang of cruel kids and her became crueler and crueler. They began plucking fish and other sea creatures from the ocean simply to ridicule their appearance and toss them back in, not even to eat them, not even to use them. I hear they even brought some of the precious mud from the treasured bog with them, but instead of using it in prayer or to remind them of the beautiful sea, they just threw mud around just for the heck of it. It makes me shiver. But on to the great sea she did go, continuing on and on, until she found something that she did not quite expect.
Oh. Pencil, please. For you see, this is where I come into the story. Now, as my friend here said earlier, a great deal of the pirates did die that day, yes. But not all of them.
They were struck down by the ocean god, let me not forget.
Yes, a great deal of pirates, including my father, was struck down by the ocean god that day. And
Because they did not fear death, do not forget.
because my father, seeking, he is a man of glory. He needed not fear death, and indeed he was justified in not fearing death, for he was allowed to live forever.
And do not forget, this was quite lucky for him as well. I mean, not everybody gets to live forever.
Luck, there's a bit of luck involved, yes, okay. Now, the sea gods don't favor everyone. Of course, I was not struck down. And as I said, this is where I come into the story. For you see, floating out at sea, as they were picking their way through cruel fish, bullying fish, and yanking them out of the sea to bully them, they found me floating among the southern...
Well, that's not quite right.
What?
Because I found you first. As I was already established to be among those ships.
Yes, you were.
And I was already dead. That helped too.
You were...
I'm sorry.
You were a lich at that point.
Yes.
That's what you were saying. Were you royalty at that point?
I'm not royalty, I'm a baron.
Is that not royalty?
No.
Wait, can you explain
nobility.
your title to me?
We don't have time for this.
Okay. Excellent. Well, anyways, they found me being held captive by the Baron. The Baron, you see, Baron wanted a little slice of this legend for himself. The reputation of being the one to slay the man-eater of the Great Southern Whirlpool was too strong for any one man to resist. And so, the captain, we have this pursuing ghost ship fleet. We have the captain, Marshie, and her crew of children, and we have me at the end of this line of things, being held captive by the captain, or by the Baron. And so, Baron, what is it that you wanted?
Indeed, I was pursuing such legend as to be among the crew that slayed the great man-eater Barnacle, and I believed that the Captain Evilsworth could see it done. Alas, he was too slow. His kind-hearted ways were just too costly to their goal. And indeed, he did fall in that whirlpool against Marshie. And the sea gods, in their infinite wisdom, did see worth in his soul beyond merely falling that day. And so I joined the captain in their pursuit of Marshie in order to turn her to different ways. For indeed, she had begun to embark on great pilgrimages of adventure and hedonism. But we did eventually find her, and we did begin to tempt her with tales of greater glory, with purpose, and most importantly, with power. For I had something that I could offer her, something that I had meant to offer to Evilsworth had he completed our grand goal, but as such a tale was taken in by another, so too eventually did the prize. For while I did not have the mettle to command such a grand fleet, I did have the right to bestow such a title on another. And so I did offer unto her the admiralcy of the Ghost Fleet, the grand fleet of the Rattlebone dynasty, one which has scoured the northern and the southern seas many times of their foes.
You're forgetting it's one for which I still sail.
Indeed. Well, at least as an ally of you, privateer.
Do not also forget, with that offer of the Ghost Fleet, you also promised to be the head of her fan club, to forever cheer her on and spread her tales.
Indeed, and so I did until, well, a sadder story of this tale. But for many a year I proclaimed her great deeds and her great name and her slowly bettering ways. It was pretty bad at the start there, but we got there. And indeed, so did I offer her this position as the Admiral, and she took it up. And in doing so, I offered unto her the greatest claimant I gave her the arm of my uncle. Now, she had lost her right arm, and this was a left arm, so she became a double lefty, but at least she had 2 arms.
You're forgetting how this works. Is this lich magic?
You're right, I forgot how this works. I don't know, it's probably gauze or something. Look, I'm half skeleton. What do you want from me?
Well, I figured you might know how you're skeleton. Who raised you?
Yeah, because I was valued by the gods because I'm inherently better than you all.
Let's not all forget, this was just a great chance of luck that you happened to have an arm that happened to be fitted to a shoulder through a amount of ancient lich magic and also a lot of gauze.
Yeah, not that lucky.
There's a spectrum of luck, just like there's a spectrum of cruelty.
Well, sure, there is some amount of luck in the fact that some of you managed to rise to some mediocre levels of note, but mostly it's all about the inherent worth of our souls before the gods.
I think we can all admit there's a bit of luck involved in this arc of the story. There was at least 4 of us there. No, two of us there. And about 3 different fleets going on, so it was a bit by chance, I think.
All the same, Bargain, please, what exactly happened next?
Now, unlike you, I am much younger than some of you. I was not there. I've never met Marshie. Unlike you, her tale was passed down to me from my elders, their elders before them. We believe very deeply in passing on these learnings, and the gift of getting to tell them and have them be forgotten and retold and forgotten and retold. Allows us to enhance their power over time. And so, in this moment, I call upon my elders to help me convey what I think is Marshie's the most important chapter of Marshie's life, which will be her time as the flame something. As the prophet of flame.
The connection with his ancestors quite weak. Little spot.
And then what is the theme you identified?
The theme
of the last one.
In this last one, convoluted. I think the theme is complexity, the complexity of life. I think we lose sight sometimes of the simpleness. We must remember that we are only here for a moment, and that most of the complexities of life are only secondary to our real purpose and our real deaths awaiting us.
Some of us.
Some of us.
If you say so.
Those of us that are pure.
Oh, that's a little moralistic of you, but okay. And now, on to perhaps the most recanted portion of our little Marshie's grand life. When she became the Prophet of Flame. After traversing the Great Southern Sea and going northward through the East Sea to the then Great Cold North Sea, after being followed by her great fleet of ghostly pirates, which, includes you two, and her ever-growing fan club, she came to a point where she began not to recognize herself. Her cruel kids were starting to grow and become kinder teens. And she no longer made fun of the fish, nor froze the sailors' shoes, nor did any other number of cruel tricks or japes that she once did. She would sit by the fire and recount tales of good deeds, not misfortune, but of luck and glory, and she thought to herself, This is not how my great cruel father raised me. No, it is not. So she decided to test her luck. She started to ignore the great affirmations that the ghostly pirate was yelling at her and instead make crueler affirmations. She would wake up each day saying, today I will do a little bit more evil than I did yesterday. Today I might throw over one of the nicer people off the boat. She would still go to collect them. She wasn't quite as cruel as she used to be. But in doing so, she decided that for her next daring adventure to, gain more acclaim, fame, and wealth and glory, that she would harness the opposite of what surrounded her, the ocean. No, she would harness the flame, the great fire. Nothing that could be found out here in the great cold northern sea. So she decided instead to embark a little bit towards the west to the great flame barrier. Yes, it was quite a fearsome sort, and not one which I can discuss. No. I belong in the bog. I do not mess with fire. You would never want to see flame in a bog. You'd get a big explosion. I've seen such a thing before. It is quite frightening.
You see, the Great Flame Barrier, I'm going to spend an influence to draw this on the map. The entire northeast, south, western reaches of the world is blocked off by an impenetrable barrier of ever-burning flames. They say gases from deep in the earth leaked long ago, and someone...
That's not quite right. I believe you'll remember that it was a great working of the Bone Rattle Dynasty's Grand Emperor, one of the greatest pyromancers.
Right. Some legends have said that, yes. Yes, and beyond the barrier, well, no one really knows, but something the Lich wanted to protect is what some say. I say, I don't know. But my father, one of his goals was always to cross that barrier, to gain the reputation as the first. He couldn't do it. He was too dead. So...
Skill issue.
He's incredibly dead. But you're forgetting that we do know what is behind the Great Flame Barrier.
Oh, you do?
We all do, yes. It's well known that it's an ancient and bountiful heap of filth, decay, and blight.
That's what I have heard that before, and that is consistent with the Liches. But if that were the case, why would all the pirates of the world be so eager to get there? You see, it wasn't just my father, it wasn't just Marshie. Every single pirate has said, I am going to get past that flame barrier. I am going to be known as the one that has crossed the great flaming sea. Maybe it's just a want of gaining a feat of reputation, be called the Flame Trotter, but I don't think so. I think there was something beyond. Maybe Peat. Maybe it was formed by the Liches. But nonetheless, she was in a race against the entire rest of the pirate kingdoms here. The Liches themselves, of course, didn't want anyone crossing that barrier, otherwise they wouldn't have erected it. So nearly everyone in the world was against her attempting to cross this flame barrier.
Nearly everyone. But I, along with my right to name the Admiral of the Ghost Fleet, knew exactly how to bypass the barrier should such a thing become necessary. And indeed, that day had come. For with the death of the man-eating Barnacle, the true beast beneath it, which it had kept locked away, began to resurface. Yes, this was the days when the bilge beast began resurfacing.
A dark time.
It began to devour whole cities. Armies marched against it and could do nothing.
You're forgetting its sunk whole islands.
Oh, indeed! Great islands were ripped asunder, and the great waves swallowed them all. Both the armies of the mortals and even the great Lich Knights could do nothing against the might of the bilge beast.
But you are forgetting, almost every island was swallowed whole or terrorized, except for those who worshipped the flame.
Indeed, those paltry lesser gods of fire did seem to have some innate resistance to the grand ferociousness of the bilge beast. Something which I recognized, and so did conclude that our salvation would lie in that which my ancestors locked in a grand temple far to the west, beyond the great barrier of flame. And so I did offer to the Admiral Marshie my wisdom and her salvation to garner such a grand crusade to the west.
Such grand feats, our dear Marshie.
So with the flame barrier descending, Marshie set forth through some of the filthiest land you have ever conceived of. And Marshie felt real fear for the first time since she faced the great Barnacle beast. But she knew that beyond there, that this fear was a great unifier, that this fear made people from all walks of the world remember their mortality, remember death, memento mori. And they said, we will overcome our fear, but we will feel it and embrace it and use it to unify and go west.
But you are forgetting, she did not care much about the fear for immortality. No, she loved the fear and exploiting it to increase her own cruelty.
Fear and cruelty are two sides of the same coin. See, her cruelty was a great gift to many of those around her. It reminded them every day that death was right around the corner.
That's not quite right, for indeed, everyone that she led at that point was dead. It was only her own death that mattered.
That's right. And with the ghost fleet behind her, she went to that temple. That temple built by pious individuals long ago. People that respected the gods and death and mortality.
But do not forget, they're also filthy.
And they were a little dirty, I will confess.
Yes.
They could have, there weren't showers
never
out in the west
cleaned.
beyond the flame barrier. And in that temple, despite her fear, she went forth and she embraced the powers that the flame gods could impose upon her, imbue her with. And with the powers of the flame gods.
You're forgetting. She didn't just get powers, she was made a full demigod.
That's right. For a moment, she did not think of death, she thought of power. And for this act of hubris, she was cursed with eternal life.
That's not quite right. For indeed she learned that power was the only true virtue which the gods valued.
She thought that power was the only true virtue. Which of course the gods took as a assumption that took great hubris to assume. And of course they cursed her with immortality, with eternal life. Regardless of your interpretation of why the gods do what they do, she was an immortal flame demigod. And with her might, she struck the bilge beast down, protecting the people. She was unified, the people who had been unified by the fear brought by the bilge beast. The bilge beast sunk into the swamp.
Oh, yes. All these stories. Sends a shiver down my spine. But I cannot wait to get back out into the peat. For I have found not one, but 2 left-handed gauntlets recently, and I think I might be able to connect them to a burn someone. But I need to do some more research on that first. But I think I shall sit here and sift through my many muddy finds for a while.
Do you have to do that on the table?
Well, yes, as you can see,
I'm
completely.
eating over here. Come
Well,
on.
every other table and bench, I've already laid out my muddy treasures. This is the only table I haven't done it on yet.
Oh, what was the theme you identified last round?
Well, I would say the theme for that one might be a renaissance per se, rediscovering yourself.
Okay. Ooh, I like that.
Renaissance.
I believe we're coming to the end of Marshie's story.
The bilge beast was thwarted.
The bilge beast was thwarted. The powers of the flame gods were stolen, or gifted, sorry. But now we come to the part where Marshie becomes Peat swallowed as we know her today. Now, as we all remember, Marshie was cursed with immortality. And
That's not quite right. She was blessed with an undying form.
Marshie was blessed with an undying form. And also the power of the flame gods. And now, there's something we didn't quite talk about last time that I think might bear a little context here. You see, we call her the Prophet of Flame. She foretells something during this time. After she defeats the bilge beast, she begins to spew the utterances of the fire gods and tell of what comes next in the world. She says she will go across the realm, finishing the work of wanton destruction that the bilge beast started. She herself will burn to the ground the remaining villages, the remaining towns, the remaining islands, and utter a new world of rebirth after the ashes have settled. Now, of course, this does not bode well for our poor Marshie. The rest of the world is not against this. In fact, is not for this. In fact, my father especially was not for this.
Indeed, the great spirit of redemption, Evilsworth, had begun to concoct a plan. One instigated along with Marshie's very own first mate, myself. For we knew that while her power to destroy the bilge beast was one that was needed, her newfound ambition to cover the world in a cleansing flame could not be brought to fruition. So we began to concoct a plan. We began to lure her to one of the great lost swamps far, far to the east. We told her tales of a grand treasure, one which would help her to bring the world to its knees. Though this, of course, was a grand deception, one meant to bring her to a place of such cold and damp and dark that even her empowered form would find weakness. Even her great majesty of flame would be swallowed by a shadow, and perhaps more.
You're forgetting the name of this place.
Indeed, this was the mighty and ancient, really deep mud pit.
Add it to the map.
Now, really was, of course, the name of a great discoverer.
Yes.
Yes, he was a cousin of the great wizard TLDR.
And so, Marshie, having been cursed with eternal life herself, decided that she would give the gift of death to as many of the remaining people as she could, but she was lured. She was stopped from her righteous quest by deceivers, liars, and brought to the really deep mud pit.
You know, I have never heard them be called deceivers or liars before. I've only heard them been called almost everybody alive or dead, but still somehow living at that point, besides our dear Marshie. It seems at that point even her cruel kids had turned against her.
Yes, they all turned against her, and really that was the greatest gift that she could give them. The fear of death united the rest of the world. This is what made Marshie.
But you are forgetting the cruel kids and her whole ghost fleet were already dead and did no longer fear death.
Why yes. Why yes, you are so right. So yeah, they just wanted to do something, I guess. They were just looking for some action. They were bored.
That's not quite right.
Because that's the curse of eternal life.
We had no more purpose to diminish her great strength.
That's right, because power is eternally corrupting and it must be brought down. Good point. Good point.
And you're forgetting there's a bit of legend in it for everyone. To be the ones who made her peat soaked. That's not right. It's peat swallowed.
Yes. So that was a lot of words to say. She made her way to the pit. A lot of words to say. She arrived there, and suddenly, people from all walks of life were around her. Children, women, old people, men, little men, giant men. They were all there. Bakers, priests, kings, queens.
But do not forget I was there.
and what's your name again?
Festa, with the great peach throwers.
Fester and the
Festra!
Festra and her legion of peat throwers were there. And I mean, Festra. Why don't you tell them what you did?
Oh, yes. So anybody who could muck through the very big, really scary, very filthy mud pit was there. Quite a large community, in fact, of us peat throwers like to get together. But we knew we had to bring down Festra, for as we mentioned before, fire and the great bog fumes should never mix.
You were fearful. You were afraid of what could happen.
Well, no, I suppose we just didn't want to be mildly inconvenienced. It's a great deal of work to put out a bog fire. Usually we have to find a new bog to dig through. But anywho, the terrible, cruel, yet somewhat caring children at this point lured her in with the lie that there would be a great and ancient treasure stuck in the bog. And so, with her fan club there cheering her along, we yelled, "Dig! Dig, Maisie! Dig, Marshie! Dig! Just a few more feet! Just a few more feet! The treasure is in there! The treasure is in there!" And she was so blinded that she did not even think to look above her to see that the great bog was slowly but surely swallowing her. No. All she desired was that great claim and fame, although she was already a feared pirate, the most cruel woman to ever have lived, and also doubly left-handed and skilled with a sword. She wanted more, even if we never quite said what that great treasure was. So she dug and she dug and she dug until the great tunnel simply collapsed upon her. And we all put our ear to the bog, and we listened, until we heard no more.
And now for the last interlude. Captain Fairtooth, when she died, her damned immortal crews died with her.
Although,
That's not quite right. Most of them burned away, but some of the mightier ones remained.
yes, the Lich who was already, by his own magics, undead, survived. And I, of course, survived, being that I was a sole survivor. But that was the last day I saw my father. He withered to wisps of ether and vanished into the bog.
It was a great thing, a great, beautiful moment.
It was a terrible moment.
It was actually quite lucky for us peat dwellers, because with everybody dying and perishing into the bog, we had so many ancient treasures to relish and dig up thereafter. It was a great day.
I take pride in maybe somewhere under the layers of peat, Marshie, my father, and the rest of the ghost ships, they all live there somewhere, deep below the earth. Hopefully, members of legends in the dark themselves. I think the theme of this round was what is buried.
True.
But the answer is Marshie.
And many ancient
And many
treasures.
other
I guess
things.
that's true.
And the dead and undead and perhaps literally dead.
So, with that, what were the lessons this tale taught us? I'll start with you.
Clearly, this story taught of the great might of immortality. For many challenges she gave rise to could only have been done so by the hand of a grand immortal. I also think it should be noted that such power could only be wielded wisely, which she could not, which is why I and many others had to lead her to a grand trap.
I would say I have a slightly different take on this story. I think it's a reminder of all of the times that the fear that had been struck throughout the world brought people together, that when they were reminded of death, they were finally living again. Marshie was seeking that feeling of living, and only when she betrayed that feeling of living to seek power was she cursed, and was she finally brought down. But she united the world against her, and her cruelty ended up giving life to those around her.
I don't know about all that. No. I think what we can really take away from here is the great, ancient, filthy power of the bog and peat. You know, she began the tale flinging the beautifully blessed mud, and in the end, the mud reclaimed her. And this is why you never undercut your own luck by disrespecting the bog. Every good peat finder knows this.
I don't know about all this bog or immortality or mortality business. I think what's important here is that the people in the story, they didn't just seek, powers. They sook to be known. They wanted to have a reputation, to live in the stories we tell today. And I think they succeeded. I think Marshie succeeded. I think my father succeeded. Wait, did her father live?
She never.
I guess she never really got back.
Actually, I don't think she never returned.
She was
Self,
consumed
did
by
she?
her quest for power.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, he totally died.
Yeah, I don't think we ever checked in on him.
Someone should go ask.
All right.
But I suppose that's a story for another time.
A story for another time.
A story for another time. Well, good night, fellows. It was good sharing a story with you.
But then again, that's just how I heard it.
Hey, that was good. All right, thank you for watching. Please back How I Heard It on Backerkit. We'll include a link in the bio. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Nice.
Well, that's how.
But that's just how we heard it.
That's
It's just
that's how we heard it.
That's how we heard. Oh, sorry, I wasn't in there.
Okay,
That's how we heard it.
No, well, you gotta pause before
no.
how we heard it has to be you.
Okay.
But-
Okay.
But
That's
how
how we heard it.
All right.
I think I.
Close enough. I think.